Hello. Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to Royal Enfield. We are delighted to have you all here and to be the first at EICMA this year. As you all know, Royal Enfield has been around for a very long time. We've been making motorcycles for over 121 years, and we intend to make motorcycles for another 121 years and beyond. So that gives us the unique position to be very long-term in our thinking. And that long-term thinking comes around in our way of making motorcycles. As you know, we tread a very different path. We do things very differently at Royal Enfield. And that's because we have a different worldview of how motorcycles should be. And that also, how we think about motorcycles is not typical. It's not other motorcycle manufacturers who look at competition a lot. We don't do that. We ride ourselves, all of us. We enjoy riding. We understand the pain and the pleasure and the joy of motorcycling. And we ride with our customers. We observe them, we see them. And that's what informs us in making our motorcycles at Royal Enfield. And hopefully you get a sense of that, you get a taste of that in the motorcycles that we make. And Royal Enfield has actually a rich history in cruisers as well. In Royal Enfield UK in the 1950s, we were making cruisers. In modern day Indian Royal Enfield, there was first the city bike, and after that was the Lightning. This is the Lightning, 535cc. That's the one when I was 16 years old, I was like, oh my God, this is gorgeous, and I used to love this. And we've come a long way. After that, we had the Thunderbird in 2002, and we had more iterations of the Thunderbird with different engines and others in 2009, here you go. And 2 years ago, we had a full new cruiser, the METEOR 350, which has been an astounding success around the world, in India, in Europe, and everywhere in the world. In fact, our European colleagues who are here, they told us, oh, 350 won't sell in Europe that well. But we knew that it's such an amazing motorcycle that it will sell. But always behind that idea was that we will have a bigger brother to the METEOR. And that's what brings us here today, and over to Govind to tell you a little bit about that.
2018, we actually launched the twin-cylinder 650cc as a platform. When we were conceiving the platform, at that point of time, we thought as a team that this should be a platform which will be a versatile one, which will itself render for various expressions of the motorcycles like a cafe racer, a cruiser, and a roadster. After the rigorous testing, with fine-tuning, we came out with the gorgeous-looking Continental GT and Interceptor 650 across the globe. When we launched, the consumers really loved it, and we were very happy to bring these sort of motorcycles into the motorcycling world. When we launched what next into this when we finished the Cafe Racer and the Interceptor 650, what next in the platform is the cruiser. Mark will talk about that.
So when we started thinking about a cruiser, we started with saying, well, what is a cruiser? What does a cruiser mean? So for us, and I think for everybody that rides cruisers, it means getting on a bike and looking out to the horizon, looking out to the vanishing point, looking across a massive vista and thinking, I want to ride there. I've not got a plan, but over there looks great. I'm going to get on the bike and I'm just going to go. And it's that sat down in that feet forward, hands up, relaxed riding position, and just letting the world go past you, letting the scenery move through you, moving through the landscape, feeling the heat and the light change. And that's really the very essence, the archetype of a cruiser. And so when we started out, that was exactly what we were looking to try and create. It was a product that captured that feeling of free movement and spirit, of being able to go out and see the world and just endlessly munch through the miles and watch the world change around you. So we've got a short video we're going to play for you now, just to give you a bit of a backstory. So I'll step out of the way and let you see the video.
is turning red, and I don't know, should I be scared or grateful? How can I see the beautiful?
Modern day Royal Enfield has a long history in cruisers. We had the cruiser in the 90s, which actually catered to that peak Americana, then it was inspired by that. But subsequently what happened was we learned a lot about our consumers, what they actually use, what they like, what they don't. And then that idea evolved into the Lightning and then the Thunderbird.
They're all a sort of a cruiser, which is not a full thoroughbred cruiser, but it actually gave more and more experience to us about what consumer is wanting for a long distance ride.
Royal Enfield have got a rich heritage in this space. So the idea for doing a large capacity cruiser at the Super Meteor was really always there.
In fact, ever since we came out with the METEOR 350, the demand for a larger cruiser has been quite obvious. And that's one of the reasons we've fast-tracked the Super Meteor now.
So the Super Meteor project started at the same time as the Twins. We always knew we wanted a range of motorcycles. Obviously the GT and the Interceptor came first.
What the success of the 650s really did, I think, is make all of us realize in the big, wide Royal Enfield ecosystem within the company and without, that people are looking for a Royal Enfield take on different genres, different platforms, and that became very interesting for us with the 650s. That opened our eyes to this possibility.
It became clear this engine was, if not even better suited for this bike. It just works really well in this package. But outside of that, virtually everything else on this bike is brand new. It's an entirely new mainframe, entirely new suspension geometry, bodywork is brand new, tank, side panels, swinging arm. We've gone for upside down forks for the first time on a Royal Enfield. And that very first LED headlight, everything on the bike really is, as I say, it's from a clean sheet of paper, is brand new.
So when they came to cruising, Royal Enfield's incredible design and development, they were able to distill exactly which parts of Royal Enfield's DNA will really build on a certain version of motorcycling. Royal Enfield's take on cruising.
Ooh, sky's turning red, and I don't know, should I be scared or grateful? How can I see the beautiful?
It should be simple, easy to handle.
You think you can easily get on, it's not something that's intimidating at all.
It should be very stylish.
It is a very streamlined motorcycle. It is not what you'd expect a cruiser to be.
That it should be a motorcycle which should be distinctly Royal Enfield.
That very traditional Royal Enfield rising frame shape, that triangular toolbox. You jump on it, your hands fall in the right place, your feet fall in the right place, and straight away the bike is right. We've really pushed hard to make this bike an easy bike to ride, and that's a component of all of our bikes. Confidence is really important. You can't have fun if you're not happy. So making sure that was in this bike was really key.
And it's been really quite an amazing journey.
The fit and finish of the componentries which we will use, it should be of the highest level, which should actually set the benchmark across the globe.
That we've put a lot of effort and energy behind all the little details, the details that you're going to touch, you're going to feel, you're going to look at. And that's, to us, what really elevates your riding experience and makes it super special.
But the Super Meteor, I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to discover cruising through this motorcycle because suddenly the barriers have dropped.
It's accessible, it's something that anybody can jump on and ride and feel at home at straight away.
I am super thrilled to see that Super Meteor motorcycle coming into the Royal Enfield family, a thoroughbred cruiser across the globe.
over
Ladies
the
and
van.
gentlemen,
So that's,
the Super Meteor 650 from the Royal Enfield family.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay, so yeah, this is our brand new Super Meteor 650, and we are super proud of it. Essentially, we've gone for something that is an archetypical cruiser, something that embodies everything about the genre. So the style, the proportion, the design team, Adrian Sellers and the team worked really hard to get that absolutely archetypical cruiser look and feel and stance and proportion. But it had to be a Royal Enfield, and so we also worked very hard to incorporate some really key Royal Enfield design cues. So, you know, things like, if you look at this rising line that we talked about in the video, so this design cue that goes all the way back to our bullet, all the way back to the late 1940s, this shape of the frame that comes down and around the back of the toolbox there, this very strong hourglass figure, the proportion of the bike just works. And you can see, you know, on the screen here, these are some of the early sketches that we did. And you can see it gives that sense of dynamic, that sense of motion and moving forward right from the start. And I think that's given the bike, the overall bike, a real sense of purpose and of stance that works really well. The vehicle development team, the vehicle dynamics team, put a huge amount of work into making sure that this bike is an easy bike to ride. So our chief test rider, Paul Young, put a lot of time and effort into making sure that the bike handles and responds and is neutral and natural and easy to ride. And it's a surprisingly easy motorcycle to get on and ride. It feels as easy to ride as our Interceptor or our other bikes. Talking through some of the design details on here, we've got some really nice premium quality design details. So for example, we've spent a lot of time on these switch cubes. These are a cast aluminium switch cube with a really beautiful finish, and that's taken a lot of time to get that right and to get the quality there. And you can see how that runs all the way through the component parts, the triple trees, the riser clamps, the mudguard front part, all fit together and just work nicely together. Details like the badging, you know, we've put a lot of time in developing things like the badging and just all the way through the quality the bike oozes through. We've got upside down forks for the first time in Royal Enfield. We've worked very hard with the supplier to develop those, and it really comes through. When you ride the bike, you feel the quality of the ride, you feel the responsiveness of the bike. That comes through really strongly. We've got our very first LED at the front here, first LED headlight, LED indicators and tail light. There's a tripper pod up there, so for navigation purposes, you can stick your phone in your pocket, plug in your USB cable under the side panel, and away you go. You don't need to worry about where you're going. You've got simple directions there. But everywhere you look on the bike, the detailing is rich and works very well. On the engine, as mentioned in the film, it's our tried and tested parallel twin. And that works really well for a cruiser. It's got 80% of the torque at 2,500 RPM. So really from low down, it's got that lovely torquey wave that you can pick up and ride through. It's got that butter smooth gear change, and it just suits a cruiser. It really works well in this bike. We've played a little bit with the mapping and the gearing just to make it more suitable for the bike. There's some small architectural changes to the engine to make it work with the frame. But other than that, if you're familiar with our twin, then you'll be familiar with this, and it just makes the perfect engine for the bike. So I'm going to pass over to Govin now. Govin's going to talk a little bit about the different propositions.
The motorcycle is available in two different propositions, the Super Meteor 650 and the Super Meteor 650 Tourer. Totally there are going to be 7 colorways, of which 3 colorways which are given here. The Interstellar Green, Celestial Red and the Astral Black, and 4 more colors. The motorcycle will be available from spring 2023 across the Europe for the delivery to the consumers. We have the well-engineered, tested, homologated, all the accessories which are fitted into these motorcycles like fly screen, handlebar, fog lamps, engine guard, seats, backrest and pannier. So a Super Meteor can actually be loaded with all these accessories, can be a grand tourer. That's the Super METEOR 650 from Royal Enfield. So over to Sid to add the closing remarks on the entire launch.
I never really took myself for a cruiser guy, but in the last few years, riding the prototypes of the Super METEOR, and I think I've been transformed a bit. For me, this is an extremely refined motorcycle. When you ride it, the throttle response, of course it's meant for straight roads, it does really well. But when you actually lean in, it feels absolutely natural, absolutely amazing. It's got a full foot forward control, yet it's super agile. And to me, the form, the shape is absolutely gorgeous. As Mark said, we've really put a lot of effort into every little bit. So please come and have a look at this motorcycle. And I think this will make a cruiser rider out of me. It's absolutely fascinating. And really, for us, we really believe that there is nothing, absolutely nothing like this available in middleweight motorcycles. Such a refined, such a gorgeous and capable cruiser motorcycle. So thank you all very much for coming. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here. Please come and have a look at the motorcycles. Thank you.